Hello, everyone, and once again, my name is Dr. David Price, and I wanted to take a moment, just make a short video of this season that we celebrate once again in Christianity called Easter. And once again, Christianity, unfortunately, has lied. Easter is not a celebration that was established by Yahuwah, that is God, nor Yahusha, which is his son. Easter has its roots, once again, back in the Babylonian era of worship, where it started with Nimrod, who was the grandson or the great-grandson of Ham, and also was killed by his uncle Shem for practicing sun god worship. We once again remember that Nimrod married his mother, whose name was Semiramis. They then had a child after he was killed. It was said that he had went to the sun and he became a part of the sun, and he then came back and impregnated his wife Semiramis, and they had a child named Tammuz. Now understand that this Tammuz is Nimrod coming back as the father, coming back as the son, marrying his mother, and then producing a child named Tammuz. Now it's very interesting because this time of the year is when we celebrate the resurrection of Tammuz. Now the key figure in this holiday, or day that we celebrate in Christianity as Easter, is the woman known as Semiramis. Now, Semiramis takes on several names. She has over 50 names, and it's because at the Tower of Babel, as there was one worship of Semiramis, of Nimrod, as Yahuwah separated the people, he confounded their language. There was supposedly 70 languages that were then dispersed throughout the world. Now, they carried with them this same worship, but was doing so in different names. You'll see some of the names as we display them of Semiramis. One of the names of Semiramis is Diana, which we see in the church in the book of Acts as Paul was preaching in Acts chapter 19. He was constantly preaching the good news, and they were crying for Diana. As we move into modern day times, this Diana was brought into Roman Catholicism as Venus and Aphrodite, and she has several names. And one of the names, the Babylonian name that she was called, was, watch this now, Ishtar. This is Ishtar. And if you say that in the Hebrew tongue, what you're saying is Ishtar, Easter, Ishtar, Easter. And this is where we get the term Easter. This is the holiday that has been moved in front of the holy day, which was supposed to be the Sabbath, the Passover feast, as the Jews celebrated this time. That death angel was supposed to pass over the people if they placed the blood on their doors. This is where, once again, Constantine in the Council of Nicaea in 325 AD decided that he no longer wanted the Jews to celebrate the Passover, and because he was a sun god worshiper, he was an Ishtar worshiper, decided that we're going to follow the customs of his religion, which is to worship Ishtar. Now, if you remember, the Roman Catholic Church has something called Lent, and that's 40 days of fasting and praying, and then it culminates in the resurrection, supposedly, of the Messiah. That is not true at all.
Lies. Oh, lies!
The Easter Sundays, the day that you celebrate, the weeks that they celebrate prior to Easter, are the 40 days of weeping for Tammuz. In the book of Ezekiel, chapter 8, it clearly defines how the people began to weep. These are the Hebrews, the Jews, the people of Yahuwah began to fall so far away from Yahuwah that they had begun to syncretize the religion. They began to add their religion and the Babylonian religion. He was 40 years old. Remember, this is the son and the father. He was killed by a wild boar when he was 40 years old. Tammuz was killed by a wild boar at 40 years of age. Hence the term, the 40 days of weeping for Tammuz. And that's why on Easter we celebrate by eating ham and things of that nature. His mother was so upset at the losing of her son, which was also her husband, that she went into a depression and in a sense died. When she died, she went into the underworld. And there was no vegetation growing during this time, as she was seen as the moon god. She then prayed to the sun god. He rescued her from the underworld. And as she was resurrected and Tammuz was resurrected, she is also the goddess of the dawn. So at sunrise, right as the sun was rising, she also, her and Tammuz, rose from the dead. So as we celebrate the 40 days weeping for Tammuz, we then move into the resurrection of Tammuz during this festival. She was also the goddess of fertility. And it was said that when she died, she came back, she went to the sun and then came back in the form of an egg. And that's where we get the custom of Easter eggs from, because that is the Ishtar egg. This is the egg that she said she came back reincarnated as. Now understand that during this time, and even today, there are some cultures, some churches, where they only paint their eggs red. Now there's reasoning behind that. Because what was required during this period of weeping for Tammuz is you had to sacrifice human children. And then you took their blood and you painted the eggs in recognition of the goddess Ishtar. This is what we're celebrating when we're celebrating Easter. This was done at the Council of Nicaea. These are the councils that they told us were for our benefit.
Why do you keep lying?
This is when Constantine intermingled, we call that syncretism, where we're mixing different religions, we're amalgamizing different religions, we're wedding different religions and creating a new religion. And this is what was done in the Hebrew faith. And this was done around the 4th century. We have 1600 years that we've been doing this custom, and we know that something is wrong. Every one of us that have been in church understood, yes, well, I don't know why bunnies and Easter eggs are doing this, but I don't celebrate it for that reason. But you don't understand. If you're not doing what Yahuwah has commanded us during this time, on the 14th day of the first month, we are to celebrate what is called the Passover. This is clearly lined out in Leviticus chapter 23, how we are to establish and reaffirm his holy days. The first thing they told us in Leviticus chapter 23, 1 and 2, 1 through 3, is he told us once again to keep the Sabbath. That is the sign of his people. If you're going to church on Sunday morning, sunrise service, you're giving homage to Ishtar. You're giving homage to Semiramis, and we see her in so many forms today. As we look at the Statue of Liberty, that is the liberty that was the Statue of Liberty was given to us by France as they made a larger image to Semiramis. And this is once again Ishtar, Semiramis, the moon god. She is throughout our society. We're now worshiping her when we are supposed to be worshiping that day as the Passover. Then right after that day, we were required to have a feast of unleavened bread. We do that for 7 days. it tells us in the book of Leviticus chapter 23 that the Omer, or the first fruit offering, is to be offered. That's 3 days after the Passover. Yahusha gave his life at the Passover. 3 days later, he presented himself as the first fruit offering for his people. This is what Yahuwah, as you may know as Jesus Christ, did for you and I, for us to come back to the Torah. Not to what you're told by others, but can't show you in Scripture why Easter is in the Bible. Or why we're celebrating Easter as opposed to what has been established by Yahuwah as the Passover. Once again, Christianity is not being truthful. Christianity is lying. If you are celebrating this day of Easter, you are celebrating once again the Babylonian god Semiramis in the form as Ishtar. How we pronounce Easter, the eggs that we have fun with the children, they were used with the children, being sacrificed to her, the blood being then painted on the eggs. This is a holiday that we have made a holy day when Yahuwah has given us the clear instructions on what our holy day is to be. I hope, brothers and sisters, this has been challenging for you. I have no reason to lie to you. There are so many things that have been changed in Scripture. There are so many customs that have moved away from what Yahuwah said to what the Pope said. Even though we had the Reformation, only thing that the Reformation did is it moved away from certain indulgences that the Catholic Church had done, but it was already 1100 years in the making. And we continue with this same path as we move into mixing paganism with Christianity. Once again, Christianity is a lie. Roman Catholicism is a lie.
Lies. Oh, lies!
The Bible is true, but you have to search. In Hebrews tells us that it's him that diligently seeks him. Those are the ones that are going to hear from Yahuwah. It's right there in front of you. If you stop listening to what they're telling you and go directly to the word of Yahuwah, you'll have your truth. They're lying to us. Semiramis decided that when her husband was killed and he was sent to all parts of the world, as Shem cut his body up and sent it out to everyone to tell them exactly what would happen to them if they did this sort of thing. She then went underground and they created the secret societies where once again Nimrod would be worshipped, Semiramis would be worshipped, Tammuz would be worshipped. What we're worshiping is Satan when we celebrate these pagan holidays. Come out from among them. Once again, my name is Dr. David Price. I hope this has been an informational video, one that you can say I've learned something. If you have any questions, as always, you can give me an email at newgenesis5111@gmail.com. Once again, that's newgenesis5111@gmail.com. I am also involved in a ministry that we are establishing called the End of Exile Ministries. You can go on that website. It's currently being updated, endofexile.org. We will be having classes beginning May 4th for new members. We'll be doing this via conference call. We'll have intermediate classes on Fridays, beginning the Shabbat, and then we'll have our advanced classes at Saturday at 1 p.m. If you have any questions and you'd like to participate, please don't hesitate at contacting me at newgenesis5111@gmail.com. I'm Dr. David Price. I hope you have a blessed day.